will mask each other. You might get a really high ABV whiskey that's really heavily peated, not realize that it's 62% ABV.
Until it's too late.
And yeah, next thing you know, the boat's going down, and you're like, pour me another, right? But it's all good.
What is up, folks?
Hey guys, it is Scotch for Dummies.
4 guys in the Scotch journey to help you with your next Scotch purchase.
Boom.
Where are we going? Isla?
We're going down south.
Well,
South Isla.
and this one's going to pack a punch because it's cast strength.
Yes, sir.
This is
Lafroig 10 cast strength. Wheelhouse. Wheelhouse. This is my kind of whiskey.
Are you saying this is going to have a plethora of peat?
a bit of peat or a plethora?
Senior
So we know that the regular Lafroig 10 packs a punch. In fact, there was a time when we first started whiskey where you could write into Lafroig and say, give a description of whiskey, and they print a little poster for you. And for Lafroig 10 regular, I put in there, it's like licking an iodine bottle that was caught in a house fire. So that was my description of Lafroig 10 regular many years ago.
This is cast.
And that was meant to sell it for you.
Yeah, right.
And
This is punched up.
So if you think about Isla whiskeys, Lafroig is one that definitely stands out. I think if you look back years ago, they had some of the best marketing videos out there. Yeah. Like they had people that love it, and then you had people who were like you said, it's like licking an ashtray in the middle of a campfire.
It is not for everyone.
It's not for everyone. It's definitely unique. But
so let's get into the deets on this particular one though. 58.6?
58.6.
Okay, so 58.6, 70 bucks. 10 years old, a little high for 10. Maybe not when you're getting that much whiskey in the bottle.
Which bottling is this?
argue that
Batch 14, I think they're up to 16. Okay. Maybe 17 by the time of this video, somewhere in that neighborhood. So this is batch 14. Yeah, we're down to getting close to a heel, but nevertheless, as strong as this one comes out of the gate,
it's going to be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Right.
It's going to be timid and mild.
Right. Let's give a 30-second view of Lafroig. So Isla obviously is known for its peated whiskeys, right? And we've got some big hitters down there. We got Lagavulin, we got Ardbeg, we got Lafroig, right? And what makes Lafroig different from all of them?
Medicinal.
Iodine, medicinal,
Correct.
Band-Aids.
Charcoaly, really ashy peat, really.
Yep.
Right. So this one coming in cast strength is probably gonna take that to 11.
It's gonna punch you in the face. Did you just do a spinal tap? You did. I love it.
Would you call this a beginner bottle?
No.
Why do you have extra knob?
Right.
Because I want to.
This is where you take, if you're a peat head and you want to really test yourself. This and like Corey Vrecken or Ugadale or
don't get ahead of yourself here. Yeah. Let's go to the nosing.
Let's get to this young buck of
because I think the last time we reviewed this was like 2016. So.
Hey, it comes out of the glass and punches you in the nose.
All right, let's
see. It smells good. Got a little bit of cake batter going on a little bit.
Yeah, so it's funny. You say it comes out and punches you. When you've been doing it as long as I've been, that doesn't punch me in the nose at all. It's like, hello.
It says, come closer.
I can tell you that
a good barbecue.
It's hot. I can tell just by the nose that there's some alcohol in this glass.
You know, it's a good point you raised there, though, because whiskey heat, coming out of high ABV and peated whiskey definitely play tricks on the drinker. They will mask each other. You might get a really high ABV whiskey that's really heavily peated and not realize that it's 62% ABV.
Until it's too late.
And next thing you know, the boat's going down and you're like, pour me another, right? But it's all good.
It does have that nice sweet cake battery vanilla notes to it.
It's almost like fake sugar, like confection sugar or something.
Yeah, and when you just get to the edge of the glass, that's when that ashiness comes out. It's beautiful in the nose. This is
I'm not getting ashiness yet.
Well, you have to.
On the edge, I get burnt wood. Like you wake up the next day, the campfire, some of the wood that didn't burn off.
Like wet wood? Or?
Not wet, but it's just
like
it's
that
still
charcoaly.
Charcoaly. It's still maybe still part of it's just wood and hadn't even burnt yet, right? I get that in there.
Let's get into this glass.
All right, take a palate.
So that ashy wood just rolls through the center of this.
Man, that is so, wow. Just big in the mouth.
It's huge. It's a huge whiskey.
That's cast strength for sure.
But it's not too hot for me.
No, it's not too hot.
It's just full of.
At 58%, it's not too hot.
Not too hot, which is crazy.
But I do think that there's definitely flavors I'm not getting because of the alcohol.
Well, that was your first sip too. So
Right.
give it another sip.
I got a really heavy cedar note down the center of my tongue, and believe it or not, a little bit of burnt popcorn in there.
Like sure, okay, but you know what's really neat about this? It's so nice and sweet up front, and then it rolls into that point.
Sure.
And it's like you don't get a whole lot of smokiness anymore. But this does. This brings smokiness. Like when you think of Islays, people tend to go smoky. I don't go smoky that much anymore, but this one brings the smoke.
Yeah. But it's such a full body. Like I'm still tasting on it.
Oh yeah.
But it's such a full body. It's almost an overwhelming experience for the first sip. Like there are definitely 10-year, 12-year-old whiskeys that they're young whiskeys and maybe they're not all put together quite right, and there's elbows and
Yeah.
This one to me is just it's an awesome whiskey, right? Like you take a sip and it's like an explosion. It's almost like Pop Rocks in your mouth when you were a kid, right? It's like too much to contain and you can't really describe it all. But it's got like some awesome vanilla custard notes. It's got that ashiness that just kind of permeates your mouth. And the alcohol, because it's a high ABV, just kind of fills up your nasal cavities and your whole mouth. And it just makes everything go up to 11. Like you can almost like not.
Yeah, I would agree. The thing that's interesting about this is if you're used to peat, this is really good whiskey because up through the mid to late palate, that the peat and the sweetness, those vanillas and the custards and things, they really track really well together. And so that balance is really hard to do for that long. Now, once you get to the end of the palate and the finish, the sweetness goes away, the ashy peat really holds, and that's your predominant finish. Kind of almost a bitter ash.
Yeah.
The interesting thing too is if you watch our reviews, we always kind of have the same sequence of things, right? But when you get to whiskeys that are so full, like you can see us slow down. Like I am chewing on my first sip still. Like I want to go for a second sip. I'm like, wow, it just lasts so long. It's amazing.
I would say second sip, like you know how first sips go, right? Like it's gonna be a lot. The second sip to me was all that custard melded in with all of that peat. And so it just kind of like smoothed out the rough edges, and they just kind of held hands all the way down your palate, right? And the finish was, it had those vanilla notes, but it had that ashiness to it, and like a hint of that iodine-y like tang, I guess, to it. And it just like hangs out forever.
It's delicious.
It's like holding, that note at the end of the song when they just let it go on for like 5 minutes, and you're like, all right, man, I mean, you can cut it off if you want to, but I guess you can keep going.
It's called sustain, baby. It's sustain.
And the time when you get to the third sip, so what he was just talking about was what I was just talking about on my previous time I talked, because that was my second. My third sip, I'm getting maltiness coming that hits me right on the front palate.
Yep.
It's just really just that grain, barley palate.
Mark, what you got? You have so much.
You're
enjoying it.
I'm knee deep in it. You guys are sitting here on the first sips going. I'm chewing on this, and I'm going all the way down the rabbit hole. Yeah, I've got all those things. One thing that you guys didn't say that I'm not really quite enjoying is it smells a bit green to me. I'm getting a really green, grassy note, like a green note, and I'm not particularly fond of it with the peat. I may have just overwatered it a wee bit because I really wanted to see what would happen. I definitely think the water helped open up some of the notes you were talking about when you were talking about that cake batter and that sweetness. I wasn't getting that neat. I put some water on it and it opened that up, so I was able to come around to it. I'm enjoying it. I'm very curious to actually pour Lafroig 10 regular next to it just to see for my own educational purposes. But I got to give this some time and see if I overwater it. I might need to put a little bit more on top of this just to bring it back to where I want it. I've been playing, you guys have been talking a lot, and I've been really into this, trying to figure out where I'm at, because I'm kind of all over the place.
So green grass, that's like overpowering the other notes in there for you?
It's not overpowering. It's not marrying well with the peat.
Oh, it's not marrying well. Yeah, okay.
Right. So it's disharmonious with the peat, right?
So that'd be a young distillate character that you're getting. Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
Not too surprising for a 10-year-old.
I guess the only thing that I can get that would be close to that grassy note that you're getting, because I was really looking for it now, is there's like a bitter lime at the finish now, like almost that like pithy, like sour, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, for the most part, like I like it with water. It was great.
So
neat.
I think the iodine piece is giving you that more.
No, I got to tell you,
right.
I thought I overwatered it. I just needed to let it sit with the water a little bit longer, and this is perfect. This is where I want it. I don't need to put more of that. And it was a matter of I put some water on it, and I took a sip without really letting it kind of marry together.
To me, the two dominant flavors here are like smoked cake batter vanilla. Like that, those are the two combos that are really apparent for me. Like I just mentioned a minute ago, I did get some more lemon on the nose, which was kind of neat with water. But I'm still getting a little bit of the iodine as well coming through, which is the bitterness, I think, at the end.
A little bit of earthy note with water, like dirt, like black and brown dirt, and dare I say a little bit of a grape ape note with water.
Yeah, see, I think, and because you said that grassy note, I was searching more for that distillate. I think that's what I was getting with that initial malt character. That's that distillate character, which I think there's some grassiness in there, and I can see that in there. Yeah, I have to look for it. It's not my initial impression, but yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah, it was hitting me. Yeah, I mean, everyone's sensitive to different things. Sure.
Yeah, I ate spicy food for dinner tonight, so maybe that's killing me.
It's all good.
Man,
so somebody,
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Get it.
So this is a delicious dram. I think I am interested in the 10 regular too, but I do enjoy the cask because what was it again? 50 what?
58.6.
Man, it does not come across as 58.6.
It's hiding it.
It is. It's hiding it. I think you could go either way. I think I prefer neat versus with water. But I could go either way, honestly. It's pretty good. I think the water actually opened up and got a little bit more flavors out of it. But at the end of the day, the dominant flavors I mentioned earlier are the cake batter vanilla, and smokiness that are coming right through. It is definitely smoky. I really like this whiskey a lot, guys. For what you're getting at, what was the price of it?
$70. Don't look at the price. Don't look at the age. Look at the $70.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting cask strength.
It's a $70 whiskey. Is this worth a $70?
What's a 10 go for? Anybody know?
Doesn't care.
55.
$70 for this whiskey.
So I just kind of admit, I would spend the extra money for sure to get the cask strength. I'm going to give it a 3.5. I think this is. It was pushing a 3.5. Like what? It's right there. But I think the flavor profile is really good. It's different. It lasts with water or without. You can go either way and be fine with it. And it's got a lot of things going on.
You can go either way.
All right. Not bad at you.
You can go your own way.
Yeah.
You said either way.
All right.
John, hit it.
It's been a minute since I've had Laphroaig, so I'm glad that we're doing this review. I really enjoyed it neat. Like, really enjoyed it neat. It was such a big, bold, and it's 10 years old, so that, when you get a younger peated whiskey, they just come at you like a raging bull, right? Like they just have a lot of peat going on.
A lot of energy there.
And you get some of the older, if you get into like 15, 20-year-old whiskeys, the peat's mellowed out. You get a whole different kind of whiskey.
Much more seductive.
On those older peats. But no, not your turn. But the younger stuff comes at you like it's got something to prove, right? And this one really does that. And at cask strength, it really gives you all it's got to give. So we're almost at 60% ABV. So that's a hot whiskey.
It doesn't taste like that.
It doesn't taste like it at all. I really enjoyed the blending of the sweet and the ashy notes, a little bit of iodine. they seemed very well married together. Like they were very well paired throughout the whole thing. The front palate, the mid, the finish, like everything. There was no like weird off notes, which a 10-year-old whiskey you kind of expect.
Yeah.
I didn't care for it quite as much with water. To me, it was fine. Like some of the sweet notes came out, but I lost some of the intensity and just like the power of the whiskey tamed down. You could get a few more notes, but I felt like you lost a little something. I'm gonna give it a solid 3. Like it's a really it's borderline 3.5, but I mean it's a really good, well put together whiskey.
Yep, well said.
Torn here.
Be honest.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I will. So I'm torn between a 2.5 and a 3. Some of the grassy notes that younger notes, they didn't hit me well. I think the water helps it out a lot. Neat was cool. I enjoyed it, but I had to freaking go in there and overwater the hell out of it just to see what it's going to do. It's a good whiskey for sure. If I'm drawing on my memory of Lafroig 10 regular, I think I like it better than Lafroig 10 just because I like more whiskey in my whiskey, if you know what I mean.
He's wrong.
But I'll probably say a 3 because I do like it with this water. It's bringing out a little bit more vanilla. It's bringing the flavors back around. It's coming up. So I'm gonna say. Sean said it was a 3 pushing 3.5. I'm gonna say it's a 3 holding on.
All right, fair.
This is a good whiskey.
Bring us home.
This is
Preach.
This is my wheelhouse. I think we've gone through the tasting notes. In the interest of time, this is a great whiskey. I think it's a 3.5 because they do a great job with balancing what could be an overpowering peat note with the sweetness. Mm-hmm. It holds water well. It has all that balance in there. I don't know how they do it with that young of a whiskey. 10 years is young for Scotch. For bourbons, it's like ancient, but for Scotch, it's young, and it has great flavor. Now, Mark's note about the grassiness and the young, I see that as distillate character. The more I watered it, the more I got the distillate character. But it's really good distillate in my view. Young distillate is great. So I'm going to go with 3.5. This is almost a perfect whiskey.
Oh, shit.
A little more sweetness in the palate would probably put it to a 4, but that's all.
Boys, it's sweeter. This is one of the scotches you could pour and be okay with letting it sit for a while.
And you got to like peat because you can't get past that.
But it's got, that's an obvious point. But I mean, don't be afraid to let it sit for a while because it matures. It's really good. Really good. So, Sal, what did we get? 3.5?
3.
3. So 3.25.
3.25.
I got the math on that.
Good job.
There you go. Lafroig 10 cast strength.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Lunch.
Lunch.